So Nick Wright from Fox Sports just got called out by a former NBA coach. And when you guys see the entirety of this scenario, this just sums up part of what I just believe about social media is that if people like you or people hate you, people can be wrong about your argument, and they can be not a great people in general, but still people will say it's a W. Just like in the situation where Draymond Green, who the only reason he didn't get a chance to face Rudy Gobert in the playoffs is because he assaulted multiple people, including Rudy Gobert during the season. But he calls it Rudy Gobert because people don't like Rudy Gobert. Everyone loves Draymond again. And that's after what's happening here when it comes to Nick Wright. So Nick Wright's not very well liked. He's not. But at the end of the day, when it comes to these talk shows, these TV shows, the best people at it are those who can either make people like them or hate them. Like when you're looking at these shows, the reason why Skip Bayless has been so good is that he's really good at making people hate him. He's really good at making people hate watch him, and he's good at making the other guy seem like the good guy. Like him and Shannon Sharp were perfect together. I don't like Shannon Sharp with Stephen A. Smith, but Shannon Sharp with Skip Bayless were nearly perfect together. Skip Bayless was the villain, Shannon Sharp was like almost a hero, and people wanted to watch them go at each other day in, day out. But basically, Nick Wright was responding to a tweet right here. Something about what's Gobert meant to do on Jokic, and that people didn't erase Gary Payton's name from history because he couldn't hold Jordan. And he basically pointed out, and completely right to point out, in the 96 finals, George Karl, in one of his many feats of coaching malpractice, refused to let Payton guard MJ until the Sonics were down 3-0. Which is true. Like, that is objectively true. Like, and obviously MJ didn't shoot well on Gary Payton, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if he shot well or not. They won the vital game. They just need to win 1 of 4, and they did win 1 of 4. They got to a game 6, but like, it is what it is. It doesn't really matter. Had that adjustment been made earlier in the series, could it have made a big difference? Yeah. But how many series from even good coaches have we seen them make adjustments badly? And obviously the reason for making the adjustment was, well, Nate McMillan was their other best defender, and Gary Payton was coming off an injury, so he waited until realistically too late. So it was a blunder by George Karl. It was. I don't think anyone should be arguing that. Except obviously George Karl does, but instead of actually arguing his point, he goes straight up into the attacking Nick Wright. And that's what you have to do on social media, by the way. If somebody calls you out and they're not particularly well liked, you attack the person. So you can see here in 96, when you were getting picked last at recess, we were determining how to guard the GOAT and a 72-win team without our glue guy, Nate McMillan. Can someone call me sometime and teach you hoops 101 for free? And it's like, George Karl knows more about the game than any one of you guys watching this. Way more than myself. Way more than Nick Wright. But you don't really need to know basketball to be able to look back in hindsight and know what, and be able to say this is what a coach should have done in hindsight. Obviously, at the time, the coach was wrong, but some of the smartest minds in sports are wrong at times. George Karl, you know what? Not a bad coach. Really not a bad coach. Not a great person, but not a bad coach. Without question, made a wrong call in 1996. But like, again, it just does show in social media where you can go and attack the person and you automatically get a W. Like, basically, Nick Wright, in fairness, one of many feats of coaching malpractice. He did start it. But it just shows that you can even be wrong, but if you cook somebody, you can say whatever you want. Like George Karl literally took 3 games to put one of the best defense players of all time on one of the best offensive players of all time. He waited until they were out. Like, you're 3-0. No one's ever come back from 3-0 in the history of the sport, especially not against that Bulls team. And I mean, 72-win Bulls team, they were also a 64-win Supersonics team. Either way, though, like, an incredibly dumb decision in 1996. I still think the Bulls probably win that series, but how were we meant to know? Either way, Nick Wright got cooked. And social media is having a field day. They're having an absolute field day. And I actually saw one, so what's it, There's one comment that has like 77 likes. It says, "You literally couldn't address a thing that Nick said," and all the responses are, "But he cooked him." But he was cooked. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's just a short video. Funny, a very, very funny Twitter exchange between a former NBA head coach who had honestly done quite a good job with a lot of teams, but has obviously since retired, become one of the most hated former coaches in the NBA, and a member of the media who, depending on who you are, is either normally one of the most liked members of the media or the most hated, which at the end of the day, maybe that means he's one of the best. Maybe that means he's one of the best. If you're able to get a reaction off anybody that's either in agreement, or they want to watch you because they like you, or they want to watch you because they hate watch you, that is good as well. Either way, quick video about that. Nick Wright got cooked. Or got cooked, according to social media.